I was a personal assistant to Her Excellency, but I was, at that time, they said they weren't going to give her slots for appointment. So we were put under her Future Assured initiative. So I was given a letter from Office of the Wife of the President as a personal assistant. The Office of the Wife of the President of Future, one of the two at that time. And so yes, I started the job. I was doing everything. I came with my daughter. She was 10 months old at that time. I was a personal assistant till I left. Actually, I was doing everything an executive assistant or personal assistant would do, but my appointment letter now came after second term. After they won second term, I feel like they made me a special assistant as a compensation or a reward for the work that I did during the 2019 election and campaign period, because I was at the forefront of the campaign. I was doing literally everything that had to do with the women wing of the campaign. And I think I remember one day we were standing there and the president came in and she told him that, this is my general. This Zainab is my general. She's the one running everything. So I feel when they were going to give her new appointments after 2019, they were asked to submit names for people. And I feel like it wouldn't have been fair if my name didn't make it to that list. I'm not sure.
Campaigns, did you travel with them from state?
Oh yes. I was at the forefront. I was doing tickets. I was going everywhere. Even during lockdown, I was on the road, back to back, Benue, Plateau, taking stuff. I was everywhere. Yeah.
Okay. So what then happened in February?
I'll take us back to November. Okay. Over the years, I developed blood pressure on the job, and the environment was toxic. She can be nice, but she's toxic. We saw people get kicked out for no reason. You went to work every day knowing that that day could be the last day you're going to work. She listens to a lot of side talk. And just going to work knowing that somebody can come and tell your principal something about you and she wouldn't even bother to ask you. And I saw her do that with her family. I saw that happen to people who spoke the same language with her. And so every day I went to work afraid for the job. Like I felt like I had to keep struggling, putting in everything just to remain on the job so I don't lose the job. And so I think sometime last year, my daughter was 7 last year, and I wanted to try for a baby. So I tried to do IVF earlier in the year. That failed. And so I asked for time off, because as at the time I did the first IVF, I think one of the children had just gotten married at that time or something. So I just had a miscarriage at that time, or something. So I had to somehow, with all the bleeding, I was doing all the work. Like many times I've had miscarriages on the course of the job, and I will still go about the job normally. So with all of the stress from work, my blood pressure was rising. I was having palpitations. I was having anxiety. I was having panic attacks. I had to do a CT scan at Cedar Crest to be sure that my brain was okay, because my brain was doing beep, 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 like I was running mad. And then my daughter was asking for a sibling, so I said, you know what, let me take time out to have a baby. So I went to, one day she calls me, she sends me a voice note and says, she didn't see me a Saturday or a Sunday. I think it was a Saturday. And then at that time I was responding to a lot of hormonal drugs. I wasn't this big, I had blown up. And so I went to see her with all of my medication, all of my injections, to say, this is what I'm going through. I'm having a lot of hormonal issues. I'm trying for a baby, and I would like you to please give me some time off work. So yeah, she agreed to give me time off work, and we're working over the phone. And so even at night, she's still asking me, I want this tea, I want this thing, because she knows that I have people who work for me. So it doesn't stop there. We're doing everything.
And she was still paying you?
The federal government was paying me. I'm an appointee, so my salary was coming from the federal government.
Off-site?
Off-site, yes. I had taken permission, and so I was still getting my salary. Yeah, okay, so yeah, so everything was good though. Then in February, there was a meeting with a cancer group, something that had to do with cancer. So I'd called, I had facilitated that meeting somehow. The person had reached out to me, had gone to the office, wasn't making headway. So somebody asked the person to reach out to me. And so I kind of facilitated that meeting, and back and forth, the guys were still communicating with me. And so on the day of the meeting, I think some people were stuck at the gate or something. And then I called inside to say, oh, there are people stuck at the gates. They're trying to get in. I might be wrong, but there's one of our new aides who felt like I wasn't coming to work and I was still controlling what was going on at work. Then went to tell her, I don't know what they told her. I don't know what happened. First thing is she tells them to yank me off the official platform. So they yanked me off the official platform and I sent her a message and I'm like, Excellency, that they just took me off the official platform. Oh, what did I do? I hope I didn't do anything wrong. And she says, no, there's no problem. Oh, something. You don't, something like, I know what you can do now. I know what you can do. Guess what? She forwards that message. I want this to be part of the interview. She forwards that message to a colleague of mine who now tells me that when I called her to ask if I did anything wrong, she forwarded my message to him. So sometime late January, somebody calls me and says, Zainab resigned. January 28, 29. Somebody says Zainab resigned. I'm like, what's going on? Your madam was fuming, huffing and puffing. I'm going to fire her. I'm going to fire her. I'm going to disengage her. No conversation, no asking me anything. So on February 11, we wake up to news. Zainab Kasim disengaged from the office of the First Lady. And so it doesn't come as a shock anymore because then I had drafted before then I had drafted a, what's that thing called? Resignation letter. So I sent it to one of her staff who is kind of my friend. And I said, okay, I want to submit this thing because I'm hearing this whole that she wants to disengage me and it's too loud. So you know what? Let me drop it. So the person goes through it and says, no, Zida, there's nothing like that. We've spoken with her. There's nothing like that. Just wait. When she calms down, everything will die down. Okay. So I sent her a message and say, oh, thank you so much for the years, 7 years. I worked for you. I'm grateful. Yada, yada, yada. And so she calls me immediately. I got your message. No, there's no problem between us. So there's no problem between us. You know, when you're working for the presidency, there are some things you can't do. So there's no problem between us. I want you to quote this. That was the day. Yes, there are some things I can't do. I don't know whether she was referring to the baby, trying to have a baby. I don't know what it was. And I think my loyalty to her family ended that day. I'm sorry. Because if you cared so much about me, you put me on blast. I had blood pressure issues. My doctors were like, any other person would have woken up to that news and passed out. Maybe. If I didn't hear previously. Imagine just waking up and then reading, okay, February 12th. This loyalty thing they keep talking about now, like, I don't owe you anything again at that point. And so after that, immediately I send her that message. She forwards it to somebody. And the person calls me and says, oh, you sent her a message telling her thank you. She sent me the message. Anyway, don't worry, blah, blah, blah. And then the point where my loyalty even died was, there was this trip to Dubai. I want you to quote it though. Okay. Yes. There was this trip to Dubai. And she sits governors' wives down and tells them, Zainab became too big. Zainab thought I couldn't do without her. Zainab, after I left, this was in April. So she had that birthday that they did, that they said governors' wives went to see her. Yeah. So she sits down with governors' wives and tells them all of these things about me, that I have so much money, and tells them lies about me. That was the day. Any loyalty I had for Aisha died. Because how do you ask me to be loyal to Aisha? Aisha is not loyal to me.
Yes.
2015 to 2019.
And you earned 250.
250K.
I was not allowed to associate with any of the governor's wives. Anybody, there was.
You're not allowed to be friends. You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to ask for money. You're not allowed to beg for money. Anyway, so that April, she calls me. I have this on my phone. I see. So I'm talking to somebody who was at that Dubai meeting, and the person is telling me, "See, letting your madam talk. She talks, say you do this, you do this." So that day, as I'm talking to the person, I see, you know, when you are connected to Wi-Fi, you will be seeing. I was seeing her own calls coming underground. So I cut off that person and then I take her call. So because of the anger of that call I have just received about what this person said, and then this person now calls me at the same time. So she calls me and then I'm just shouting and crying. I didn't do this. She recorded the call. She recorded that call and forwarded it to somebody. You can quote it.
She called you.
She called me to, I think she called me to ask how I was doing. She called me 4 calls. So the 5th one, I take it.
That's Aisha Buhari.
Yes. So I take it and she goes, "How are you?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. Why did you move out of the official quarters? Did I ask you to move out of the official quarters? You had the official quarters even before you were given appointments. So why did you move out of the official quarters?" At that point, I lose it. And I'm crying and I'm shouting. And I'm saying things like, "I didn't do all the things you said I did. I'm hearing all you said I did. You said I did this. You said I did this." She has the call. She has the call.
She recorded the call.
She recorded it because somebody said she played it. She forwarded it to a couple of people. So they told me. So I know and they had the content of that call. And so I'm shouting and I'm crying and I'm like, what did they say? I said, like, "I didn't do these things. I served you. God is my witness. If I ever did all these things you said I did, God should take away my child. I didn't do those things. You know I didn't do those things. You're accusing me of things that you defended." Because those days when they tell her that Zainab did this thing, she was the one who was defending me. But now, because there's a problem, she now started to be the one spreading those things that I did.
Okay.
You know, so that was the last day we spoke.
Okay.
Then after that, what did I do? Okay, I started Safe Haven. I ran for House of Reps. After consultation, I was advised to step down. I was just doing my own thing.
Okay.
But I know for a fact that when people, if her name would come up, I wouldn't say pleasant things about her because this person had hurt me. And this person was saying things that were not pleasant about me. So in my house, if we were to talk about her, I would say that that woman, see what she did. She's mean to me. But nothing outside of what she had done to me. Then in June, one of the president's daughters from the previous marriage was turning 40. And so her daughter, Alima, also called me and said that I should help them plan the party. Me and the children, up until June, we were still moderately okay. So November 18th,